Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Todd Duncan Coaching Live. I am Hope Borman. I am the divisional president for Todd Duncan Coaching. I am super excited about today's interview. Today, we have some very, very special coaching members with us and one of our master coaches with us. So good morning, Karen Crosby, as Todd Duncan coach. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you? I'm so excited to have you on this interview today.
I'm excited to have Jared and Marc with us.
Me too. And we also have with us two of our coaching members. We have Marc Nungester and Jared Harless on the call with Motto Mortgage with us. So good morning, Marc and Jared.
Good morning.
Good morning. I think it's afternoon where you all are, right?
12
just past noon.
The little past noon. Okay, so just as an opening, Coaching Live's primary objective is designed to educate and equip sales leaders and professionals with powerful tools and experience-based insight. We think that this interview is going to bring you a lot of amazing tools and some great insight, and most importantly, I think some inspiration of what can be accomplished when you put your mind to it. For those of you who are not familiar with Motto Mortgage is a mortgage franchise designed to create and build mortgage brokerages for entrepreneurs such as real estate firms to basically have a open and build and create a mortgage brokerage within their firm. Marc Nungester's firm is engaged and has an opportunity to build a very, very profitable mortgage division within their real estate firm inside of 2 years. So we're so excited, Marc, to have you and Jared on the call today. So Marc, to start off, tell us what motivated your firm to acquire a Motto Mortgage franchise?
Yeah, so it's kind of a three-part answer. The first part is our broker owner was looking at the longer term real estate market, the business. What are we going to do? How do we stay relevant? And as you grow and look at it, like, it only makes sense to start adding in some mortgage, maybe add in insurance, add in some, why can't we be the home inspector? Why can't we be the appraiser? And then in addition to that, the second part of it would be, man, we can give an excellent level of service to our clients that come through. So, we don't have to hand off the mortgage component of it to someone else that may or may not do an excellent job. And the third one is even our agents. Like, we can do an excellent job showing up for them, helping them achieve, helping them succeed. So it's kind of just a no-brainer when you look at it from those three angles.
Yeah, that's, it's spectacular. And I have to say, and I think you'd agree with me, Marc, that it is definitely easier said than done.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is not easy to open it up. And just because the door's open doesn't mean people are walking through it. You have to give time, effort, energy, and like, kudos to Jared. I mean, he works his tail off. Both of our LOs work their tail off day in, day out, late nights, evenings, weekends. 5 minutes before this, hey, we're always giving it our all for our clients and our agents. Right.
I think that a lot of real estate agents and real estate firms, they think it's a great idea, but they think once they get into it, they find that it's much more. There's a lot more to the mortgage industry than taking a loan application. And there's a lot of systems and operations, conversations. There's just so much more. It's a whole other business. And the fact that you and Jared have done such an amazing job in less than 2 years is really exceptional.
Thank you. Yeah, it really comes down to, I would identify it as sort of personalities. You've got to be careful. So salespeople, I am operations manager, just to clear the air. So very much structured, engineer, numbers, and it sort of takes two to make it successful. It's hard for a salesperson to run the entire business, and it's impossible for an engineer to be the entire sales team. So we've got a great team behind us, and it's a good blend of personalities.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it does take both those things to be successful. So you and Jared have been with Todd Duncan Coaching, and you kind of started Todd Duncan Coaching fairly early on. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience? What made you decide to get coaching?
Yeah, so that was really a lesson learned from the real estate side. We've been in business on the real estate side for 12 or 13 years, I believe, and I've been there 3 years now. And so when I came on board 3 years ago, the leadership team was doing some coaching. Well, the coach was talking about things that we had struggled through as a business for the first 7 or 8 years. Like, oh, I'm already doing that, but dang, it took me 8 years to figure it out. Oh, we're doing that too. Wow, why'd I have to fight so hard? So really, that was the main motivation, was like, best mortgage coaching, boom, Todd Duncan, high trust. So that's the main driver. Is like, there's no need to reinvent the wheel and struggle every day trying to figure it out. Like, oh, I think a video is a good idea. I'm not sure. Maybe it is. Karen will tell you, I send videos to my clients. This is what I'm doing. So it speeds up that process.
Sure.
Also, it adds a level of accountability, especially within a new business, experience. So you have accountability and experience partnering with your loan officer to go, here's how this is done. Newer to the industry, newer to the business. I'm sometimes like, I think that's a good idea. Karen's like, why haven't you done that 2 weeks ago? It's a great balance of, keeping things going.
Yeah, that's great. And it is very, very true. To bring the kind of experience in an industry that is a very old, well-established industry, and to, shorten the learning curve, exponentially by having a coaching company that is, this is our jam. This is what we do. It's what Todd Duncan does. It's what Todd Duncan has done for close to 30 years. And he's done it exceptionally well. And he truly, what we teach at High Trust and Todd Duncan Coaching is beyond reproach. Absolutely. So now we've been talking about your success for a couple of minutes. Can you talk to us, Jared, a little bit about what the production has been when you launched? Tell us about your mortgage division.
Yeah, so as a company, I'm going to pull the numbers up here real quick.
I think Marc has them.
We started in 2019, closed the first loan, I believe, in November. 2020, production of 259 units as an office, and that was at 54.7 million. Then 2021 year to date as an office, we're at 240 units, and we're at 57.5 million. So, our growth has really been exponential.
Yes.
I Trust Coaching has been definitely probably the biggest catalyst in that.
Yes.
We're pumped for the future and the rest of the year and trying to close out strong.
Okay, so Jared, you got it. We kind of went through that a little fast. So 2019, year one. What was the company production?
Yep. So 2019, Marc, you want to go ahead and take 2019?
2019, Jared wasn't even a thought in our mind. He was not even with us. So when we opened in 2019, it was an LO who had been in the retail world for 10 plus years. Myself as operations, and a very strong person from our real estate side who had done like closing transactions. So myself and this other person, Ashley, she's still with us. We really didn't know what we were doing. And the LO was like, well, I know retail, don't know broker. So our first loan was November. We did 1 in November, I think 4 in December, and then January was 11. And then we started like continuing to climb as far as like number of units each month. And we're like, wow, I can't believe we're growing this fast. So 2019 was relatively short. 2020, the first half of the year, was just myself as a processor. I was getting my hands dirty, learning with our other processor, Ashley, and then Lee, our other LO. And we were like, man, we're at 15 units a month and it's nonstop. We need some help. And so cue Jared.
Yeah, cue Jared. So 2020 production, Motto Mortgage, your division of Motto Mortgage did 259 units and 54.7 million your first full year out.
Correct. And like
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Seven the very first year, 7 units in 2019.
Okay. That's been it. And then for year to date, 2021, I'm seeing that you're looking at 240 units. Is that right?
It's probably a little higher now. That was pulled a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and so really the whole idea was like High Trust helped us to like formulate a business plan. And
Sure.
It's not just, it's very easy in our world. I consider us a high unit office. Like there's a lot coming in the door. It's easy to get complacent and just go, man, we're cruising. I'm happy. really, if you look at it, the goal was sort of to double from last year. And if you look roughly at the numbers, man, we're about 6 months in, and I'm right around that halfway mark to double. So, yeah, I'm thinking we're going to double this year. That's at least what I'm pushing for.
That's phenomenal. That is congratulations on that, Mark. I know that both you and Jared have been incredibly committed and dedicated to this, to that goal. So Mark, tell us a little bit about your real estate firm.
So yeah, we're a brokerage in North Augusta, South Carolina.
Okay.
Been in business about 12, 13 years. Don't quote me on that. And we have a little bit of a different model. Like, we're very much a team approach. So we will flex anywhere between 10, 13 buyers agents. And we also have a team of inside sales agents that support them. So it's a very unique model where everyone covers for each other. We all scratch our back. And at the end of the day, we're a giant team. So it allows us in that respect. Again, we're all about like excellent service to our clients. So when a typical real estate agent, it's my week vacation in Bora Bora, you're not going to see homes this week. Or shoot, my kid's got to go to the doctor and I have a showing. What we're able to do is sort of cover for each other, give our clients an exceptional experience. And that spills over into Motto, kind of the same attitude, same mentality, is very much a similar approach in how we do it.
Yeah, Mark, I have to say that, I know that you and I coach together, and that team aspect and the team approach is something you have held very, very near and dear to your heart. And I know that that's something that, even when we introduce something, it is all about the team, so that one can intermix with, with your new business coming in, with your new leads coming in, your CRM, all of your systems are all around team. And I think that that's what makes one of the things I'll say that makes such a huge difference in your business and your success. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, the team approach is great from like a work-life excitement balance, because gosh, you got friends at work. I think it's very easy in real estate and mortgage business to compete. And like we have a healthy level of internal competition. At the end of the day, scratch your back, I'll scratch yours. You need a vacation, I feel you, me too. And then that spills to our clients. Like, our clients they pick up on that and they understand that and they see it.
Okay, so just to give everyone a little bit of perspective, Mark, Shannon Rawlings production numbers for 2020 and year to date.
Yeah, 2020, we did, I think, a little over 600 units and 163 million in volume. 2021 year to date, 285 units, and we're at 78.5 million. You can do some math there, go, what happened? I think a little bit of it is we had a little bit of turnover in some buyers agents. So team approach is not easy either.
Yes.
Different dynamics. Had some turnover that we're climbing back from, where we're bringing on additional buyers agents. The listing sides have been, we all know the story there. Listings have been few and far between. So yes. I think we're going to shape up to have an outstanding second half, but it was a little slower than normal.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember when you were having to take your eye off the mortgage division for a little while to kind of rebuild and re-recruit to your real estate sales team. So I remember that, and it seems like you've come back already. You've already got it back, your arms around it again.
Yeah, and so I guess that'd be another benefit, like a huge, what I view as a benefit of like the coaching for Jared and I. It enables me, so as operations manager of both the mortgage and the real estate side, right, our ship was starting to list to the side. I don't have buyers agents. Buyers agents feed Jared with the contracts. Like, oh my gosh. So it allows me to step away, and Jared still has Karen in his ear going, what are we doing next? How are we achieving what? So it's a lot of peace. I can sleep at night knowing, hey, I've at least got some help keeping the mortgage division going while I go right the ship over here.
Yeah. So the last thing I want to ask you before we move over to Jared is the production that you all have been closing over the last couple of years, or last, I guess, I would say year and a half. How much of that is purchase business and how much of that is refinance business?
I would say we're about 80% purchase, probably closer to 90% purchase.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very purchase heavy. We starting the business last year, everybody that had been in the industry is like, woo, refi.
Yes.
Hey, we're just trying to handle the 10 coming in the door.
Right.
Now we're very much more prepped with our systems. We're prepped with our the way we do things. That the next refis, like we're all over them. But definitely focused on purchase, because at the end of the day, that's what keeps you going. I mean, you can refi all you want. Once it dries up, it dries up.
So very, very, very true. So, I think that that's one of the things that we teach at Todd Duncan Coaching is we always want to keep our eye on the ball on the sustainable business, and the sustainable business is purchase business. And we definitely, want to, service our clients and be able to continuously improve their position in their mortgage. Which is part of what we promise our clients when they do mortgages with us. So we definitely want to do. So it was definitely a balancing act that we had to do. So, but congratulations on that. So I'm going to shift over a little bit here to Jared and Karen. And Karen, you have been coaching with Jared for a little over a year now, or coming up on a year. Tell us a little bit what your experience has been with working with Jared.
I'm so excited every time we have a call coming up, because I started working with him last July 2020.
Okay.
And he was brand new in the business. His first day at Model Mortgage was in March. So he closed his first loan in July of 2020. He was very excited. And we estimated his volume would be about 50 units. And we were looking at about 12 million. He hit 9.5 million, but he hit 9.5 million in 6 months when you put it into perspective, right?
Sure.
So that was very exciting. So as we pushed through that, he comes up with some great questions. He started emailing me and just saying, I don't want to forget before our next call. I don't want to forget to ask you these questions. So he actually has pushed me, and that is, I have to take my notes and make sure I'm studying them. What if I forget what he wanted to ask me, right? So Jared's very driven, and it's very exciting to watch somebody so new in the business push so hard. And the questions that he asks are what pushed him in his first year to master level, because he always has a list of questions. He says, how can I fix this? How should I structure this? When is it time for me to hire an assistant? What do I use them for? How do I utilize their skills? So it's been very exciting to watch him grow over the last year.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And, it's really kind of interesting that, Jared, you came into this business not knowing mortgage at all. And the fact that you have ramped so incredibly fast and accomplished so much is a direct reflection of your commitment, your dedication, your curiosity and asking questions and wanting to understand. I mean, that's really phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
He hired
I've always been a big proponent of, you don't know what you don't know, and really having a mentor to guide you when you're exploring something new is always a huge help. Every week or every other week talking to Karen, it's really been instrumental, in growing a team and just developing professionally.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
And
Go ahead, Karen. Yeah.
He hired his first assistant 3 months in.
Yes.
And so 3 months in was huge, right? And one of our first actions was allow the dress rehearsal.
Yes.
Memorize your scripting, right? Know what you're going to say. And so we worked on that a lot. And that's what they started working on with his assistant. And so pushing forward, he grew his business by more than 100% in the first couple of months. And of course, that's not saying a lot, except that 100% is huge when you did it by yourself.
Right.
Now you're bringing on an assistant, and you're working with that person to utilize their skills. And one of the things that we talk about a lot is draw your T to do and not to do, right? And every time you do something, and that's what Todd teaches us in the academy. So every time you do a function and you do something, mark down, should you have done that, or should you have pushed that off to one of your assistants? Is that something that they can do better? And it's okay if your assistant's better than you are at that.
Yeah. Yeah. Karen, I think that that's such an important point to make, is that it's one thing to hire an assistant, and it is quite another thing to know how to utilize that assistant, have that, see that assistant as being basically a profit center right? And being able to delegate and learn how to delegate. And that's a great process to learn how to delegate. I think one of the things that we teach in coaching is before they even hire an assistant, we start going through that conversation of what are their roles and responsibilities going to be, so that we make sure that we're hiring to those skills, right?
Right.
Exactly. So there's something else. There's more to this story, which is pretty amazing, and that is that Marc and Jared are brothers. And so, we've had brothers in business, but not that often. So I wanted to highlight that a little bit with you. And as Marc and Jared, we'll start with Marc. How did you come to be in business together?
Yeah, so a little bit of backstory. Yeah, Jared is my youngest brother, and growing up, I think, so this mortgage thing that he's got going on is totally otherworldly for me, because, anyway, here's why. Growing up, I'm very planned, steady, predictable, numbers, pretty even keeled. Our middle brother, Derek, he's the ultimate hustler, go-getter, used to pull up with a trailer full of appliances at mom's house and have people from the city come and buy the appliances off. And mom's like, get out of here. I can't believe it. Right. So I think growing up, Jared got some influence from both of us. And now he's this rock star numbers, hustler, LO type of thing. And it's dude, this is crazy. So how we came to business together is out of school, he was yeah, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. So, we were living in separate states, calling back a few weeks later. Hey, I got a job at a mattress company. I'm selling mattresses. I'm cool, going to get that mattress money. So go for it. I'm I never thought in a million years my brother would be a salesman, right? Calls me back hey, and don't, Jared will probably correct me. Don't quote me on these numbers, but he's man, I'm number one in my store 3 months in a row. I'm killing it. So I'm wow, this is weird. Next phone call. Dude, I'm number 13 out of 600 in the entire Northeast district. They keep trying to recruit me to all these different stores. So I'm listening to my brother going, dude, are you kidding me? And on top of that, he's sending me emails of, here, look at the leaderboard. Look at my stats. And we're talking through, because I came from the engineering world, so we're talking about production metrics and tracking. And he was doing that in the mattress industry. And I'm dude, this is pretty cool. So we, again, that first half of 2020 was just pure growth mode, pulling our hair out, so stressed. We identified we needed another LO, weren't really sure where that was coming from. And I always kept our broker owner up to date, just my brother stuff. Dude, you're not going to believe this. This kid is 19, number 13 out of 600, and for the whole Northeast, New York to Maryland, whatever it is. And so we were always cool. So it came time to pull the trigger on making a hire. And I was man, if you want to step up to the big leagues and start selling some stuff and getting involved in financial world, maybe you should be an LO with us. And it's yeah, maybe. So we talked about it for what felt like a day or two. Again, fast forward, another couple weeks go by. I call him up man, have you thought about being an LO? Dude, I already bought the book. I've already read it from front to back. Every time I'm sitting here not making a sale, he's probably going to get in trouble with his previous employer. Every time I'm not making a sale, I'm reading how to be an LO. And so kudos to him. He pushed that, because usually be oh, I'm not sure. Maybe, yeah, where do I take the test? So by the time I was catching up with our office and our staff is ready to hire, Jared's yep, license, just waiting to hang my license with a broker. I know NMLS. I'm ready. What are you waiting for? So, and it was cool to see. We watched Sales Mastery last year online, and one of the events we watched was the Brothers in Business.
Yes, Arian. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we were looking at each other. Jared was still kind of brand new. I think you maybe had 3 or 4 under your belt, or you were still kind of training as an LOA. And I was listening to those two talk, and it was almost repeating our story. We were just a few months back in the time frame. It was really cool to go dude, we're only one step behind where they're at. And because they were talking in the hundreds of millions and we were in the 50s and 60s, we're okay, we can get it. And so it was really cool to be able to relate to them. And on top of that, it was cool to see they maintain that family dynamic, that positive life. Because that's something Jared and I, we have to balance. We'll Mom always yells at us, don't do shop talk at the dinner table, because we start talking refis, and he's trying to train his little nephew. And okay, here's how a VA refi works. Let me tell you how. So, but then at work, we're very serious, and it's almost as if we're not brothers at a certain point. We get into little tiffs, but still it's very much ops manager LO. Let's solve problems. Let's get the task done. So yeah, that's how it all came to be.
That's phenomenal. That's awesome. And I understand that Mom is watching this broadcast with us. So I wanted to make sure I say hello to Mom and tell her job well done on 2 of your sons. I can't wait to meet your third son. Jared, I know that you wanted to add a little bit to a story to your being in business with your brother. Yeah.
So really, growing up, to give Marc some credit, he introduced me to kind of the financial world, investing, at a really young age. So, growing up, he was reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We had this game by the same author called Cash Flow. It was like a board game, kind of like Monopoly, but a little more financially in depth. So Marc introduced me to a lot of these, financial concepts early. So I've always kind of had a little bit of a knack for that growing up. But really, once I started, once I got out of high school and I started working, no matter where I was at, Marc always pushed me to go to the next step. The first job at Home Depot, he's a regular sales associate. Marc was like, so when are you going to manage the department? And then when are you going to manage the store? So growing up, he always pushed me to keep going to the next step. Kind of just the natural progression of it was, kind of stepping up, like Marc said, to get a more professional job, moving up. Doing better. But yeah, Marc and my other brother Derek, they're the biggest role models in my life. Really watching them helping me and helping me grow up and kind of helping shape who I am. It's been definitely instrumental. In the professional world too. So couldn't give Marc enough credit for that either.
That's wonderful. It's tough to do, to go in business with your family. And but when you have the basis like you just explained, Jared, when you have that kind of a foundation, you can't help but be successsul together.
Every few months, I do get annoyed with Marc. He does say something that just, I don't know what he's thinking. But we always talk about and yell at each other for an hour, and then we get over it.
I always come in his office and go, I'm raising office comp and I'm reducing bips, and here's why. And so we usually shut the door and yell at each other, and we poke our head out and go, sorry team. It's just
you could do, Marc, is you can just kind of say, Hope and I discussed this and we're reducing bips.
I'm reducing bips. And everyone goes, what are you talking about?
That's great. So Karen, I wanted to, talk a little bit about Jared, and I know that Jared just graduated to master level coaching. So can you tell us a little bit about that conversation and what precipitated that move to master level coaching?
Yes, a lot of times when we're working with the producer level, they're just running their own show. They don't have an assistant. They may have a processor provided by the company, but they don't have a team, and they're not interested in building a team. They're just a one-man show. And so as we progressed through the coaching over the last year, Jared is now up to 4 assistants, people working with him that he's hired. Started with the first one after just 3 months, right? And as the team kept growing and the questions were coming in of how do I structure this and how do I structure that, I said, you are no longer just a producer. You have a team of people who are helping you get to that production. And to all the experienced loan officers out there, I don't care how long you've been doing this, you did not do this without a mentor. You did not do this on your own and without a team backing you. It's impossible to give good service and quality service and maintain, your timelines and stuff without a good group of people behind you. And so Jared was really seeking that and very interested in that and just kept pushing, when should I hire my next assistant? Well, after the first assistant at 3 months, I said, I think you might be pushing it a little bit too fast. Let's get this one up to speed and make sure we're doing it the right way. And then within a couple months, it was very evident it was time to order another. I keep saying the wrong thing, right? I'm thinking about a friend.
No, you don't.
On my mind here, right? To hire another assistant and add somebody else to the group. And it just kept growing from there because his desire to grow and do it the right way, his desire isn't to grow on the monetary side. His desire is to treat all of these home buyers as family and be able to educate them and offer the service and be available to them and make sure that it goes so smoothly that his reputation's out there and Motto Mortgage's reputation is out there.
Exactly.
So as we got to the point where there were 4 people on his team, I said, you are no longer a producer. This is not, we need to move you on. So probably the last 5 or 6 months anyway, we've been coaching at master level because that's where he's headed. That's what he was doing. And it wasn't serving him anymore to work at producer level.
Right.
So he far exceeded my expectations. I like I told you, I'm thrilled when I get to talk to him. I called him this morning just to say good morning. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And Karen, you made a very, very good point just now. And that was, moving into master level, producer level coaching was not going to serve him. It was not going to serve him anymore. It served him well his year 1. But now moving into master level was going to absolutely better serve him and where he was going as far as his goals were concerned. So Jared, I want to ask a question of you. So I understand that you have perfected the high trust interview. Could you talk to us a little bit about that? Why was this important to you and how have you implemented it into your business?
Yeah, so really, perfecting your initial scripting or perfecting your initial consultation with the borrower. When I first started, I think the first call Karen and I had, she said, "What's your scripting?" And I said, "What scripting?" I didn't really have any. I wasn't really clear. But every call I had, I wrote a script. My high trust interview or the high trust interview, practiced it with every single person I talked to, and I use the same script pretty much every single person I talk to now. It's almost the exact same thing word for word. But getting that perfected and cleaning up that initial consultation, it almost makes converting buyers an afterthought. I'd say if I get a serious referral who is ready to buy, I would say it's about a 90% conversion, 95% conversion. Really, it takes the focus off following up with that buyer to a certain degree. I don't have to worry and I don't have to stress out with, is that buyer going with me? Is he not going with me? I'm pretty confident up front that I'm offering them a better service and I'm offering them just a better experience than 90% of lenders in our area. So it allows me to take focus off that initial consultation, and I can now focus on, okay, what's my next step to get 5 more loans in my pipeline this month, or which referral partner do I want to focus on now? Yeah. It's really just taking the stress off the initial consultation and focusing my time in other areas.
Right. Jared, that's such an important point that you just made, and something that we advocate greatly, and Todd, something that Todd teaches vehemently, and that is making the emotional connection, right? Selling less and asking more. And so, the fact that you have been able to have that initial conversation, have the high trust interview at consultation, it has allowed you to make that connection, make that emotional connection, gain the trust, and that way you can hand it off to your team because they've now given you their trust.
Mm-hmm. I can recall 2 or 3 specific examples of when the high trust interview also paid off in tangible results. The very first one, so kind of prior to that, we're talking rates, numbers, normal scripting. Right. Jared's first high trust interview, he hung up the phone. I think I was in the office. He was like, "Man, that was the best conversation I ever had." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Man, we were talking about hopes and dreams and why is this home important to you?" And not to make light of it, but he's like, "Man, I got that one in the bag." Versus leaving it as an unknown, nobody's going to mess with it. We were good friends. So it does turn into, and even referrals. He's had 2 or 3 clients that have referred 2 to 3 additionals. I believe it's because he treated them like, it's the podcast I think Todd just did, architecting the emotional connection.
Exactly.
Man, what's most important to you and how do I make that happen? And that's been a huge part of Jared's success.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think we have so many coaching members that have been in the business for a long time, Marc and Jared. And so learning that high trust interview and incorporating that into their business is a little bit slower. It's a slower turn around that corner because they've been so accustomed to doing business a certain way. But once we get them to, hold their nose and jump in that pool, they see that they're, that it's just, obviously it's a true game changer. Absolutely. So, I want to jump. We're getting it to the end. I can't believe we're already getting to the end. But I want to throw you a curveball, all three of you. So if you're ready, Karen, I'm going to start with you. Excuse me. Tell me, when it comes to greatness, what you know for sure is.
What I know for sure is greatness.
When it comes to greatness, achieving greatness, what I know for sure is.
Oh, geez, really, Hope? Is actually taking the beginning of a relationship and turning it into a lifetime relationship and long-term support from clients. I've done this 35 years, so I'm now doing kids and grandkids and other family members and house people, gardeners and whoever this person, when you connect with them. So the greatness part of it is, and starting with the high trust interview, you develop that emotional connection with them and they learn to trust you. And I struggled early on in the business because I did not go to college. I'm good with that. But early on in the business, when attorneys and doctors were calling me asking for advice, I went to my mentor and I said, why are they asking me? I don't even have that education. He said, did they ask you if you went to college? I don't think they asked you. It was learning the business, and I learned the business and I connected with them and I gained their trust and their confidence. And now what I love and what I consider to be the greatness part of it is they call me and say, I trust you. Just tell me what to do.
Yes,
just tell me what to do.
That is greatness. That is greatness.
And that is just that, to me, that's huge success.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Thank you, Karen. So curveball for you, Mr. Jared. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, hit me with it. Go ahead.
The key to success. So complete this sentence for me. The key to success is.
Key to success is, I'd say, just putting your nose down, working as hard as you can. Really, I don't think there's anything that you can achieve without, a lot of hard work and the right people around you. Just every day showing up, trying to, or really doing your best every day. I'm a strong proponent of, I'm always the first one here. I always try to be the first one here, and I always want to be the last one to leave. I never want my team working hours I don't work. I never want them working longer than I do. So it's just, showing up to work every day, grinding, and leaving every day with the thought, or at least with the feeling that you've somehow improved from the day before. You learned something new from the day before.
Beautiful. I love that. Excellent. Well done. So Marc, last one to you. When it comes to leadership, what I know for sure is.
When it comes to leadership, what I know for sure is consistency and predictability matters. So for me, I'm a very predictable person, which has opened doors to being approachable. If there's a challenging conversation, a problem, an issue, I can come talk to me, and that builds the relationship and the trust amongst the team. Consistency in everything you do, because your team is watching you for what you do, who you are, and how you are. My son, who's 1 year old now, has kind of opened my eyes to that. Like, that little joker is watching everything. And I couldn't help but think, man, your team will talk the way you talk, act the way you act, work as hard as you work. So really it's that consistent, reliable, riding the roller coaster, especially like in the mortgage and real estate world, highs and lows. I'm like, yep, that was a good month. Woohoo. Whoops, we're having a bad month. That stinks. Yep, there it is. My salespeople will be like, oh my gosh, I'm buying a boat. And then they're like, I gotta turn it back. So
what did I do? Yeah.
So that's my key to leadership.
That's beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, because there's a lot of leaders and originators in this business, who've been in this business for a long time. I did want to mention before we drop off is that Todd Duncan is, and what we teach in high trust selling, it applies to every part of in any business, real estate, mortgage, mattresses, mattress sales. It applies to everything. And Todd Duncan is doing an amazing event on July 22nd. It is called Irrefutable. If you are a coaching member and you are already a VIP, you are coming at no charge. And we highly encourage you to invite your real estate agents because they are going to thank you for it. If you are not a coaching member and you want to sign up for Irrefutable, it'll be the best thing you do this year. Your second half of this year will be beyond reproach, probably your best year ever, and will top 2020. So don't forget to miss this. Don't forget and do make sure that you attend Irrefutable on July 22nd. The link is right there for you to sign up. We'd love to see you there. And I just want to thank Jared and Marc for trusting us, trusting Todd Duncan Coaching, and congratulate you both on such an amazing success.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I would say back at you. Thanks for being awesome coaches and mentors.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. And Karen, you bring so much value and so much heart to your coaching. I just want to thank you again. I know I thank you all the time. I thank you so much for all of the value and the immense inspiration that you bring to our coaching members. So thank you so much for being a part of Todd Duncan Coaching.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope that you got a lot of great information. Thank you both and have an amazing balance of your week.